Darling, we've had one hell of a time, but the question on everybody's mind, where is the bottom? We've had one hell of a time, but the question on everybody's mind.
Hello and welcome to Ideas Don't Bleed, a comics podcast presented by Ashcan Press and featuring Matthew Rosenberg and the Supple Boiz, Ethan S. Parker, and Griffin Sheridan. This is part 2 of our discussion with Declan Shalvey. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we can run down these questions that we have from folks over on ashcanpress.com, ashcanpress.substack.com. This one's from Cleo. They say, I won't be able to make the stream tonight. Then I don't know if I can read your question, Cleo.
I think we can. I think we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask Declan, what's the most exciting thing about the upcoming Alien series, and what's the most daunting? Additionally, what's been the best aspect of the Old Dog creative process? It's standing out as one of the coolest books I'm reading right now, and it really feels like a lot of thought is going into it.
Thanks, Cleo. Cheers. I'll answer that first because it's about me.
What about you?
What we'll say with that is I'm not actually much of an Alien fan. As in my I know, because I realized
Alien, Moon Knight, you just don't
Well
like
played.
most of the things.
No, I just realized because like everyone my generation loves those films. Like
Yeah.
I grew up at that age, and I realized like I'm not mad about Alien, but I just know every writer my generation would kill to do this. So that's why I did it. I took it from them. I didn't see Alien until I was in my 20s. No, maybe 30, and I didn't see. I think I saw Aliens first. I saw Alien Resurrection in the cinema, if that counts. But that was my first Alien film, so I wasn't mad to watch it. But no, I was too scared. Like I said, with 2000 AD, like I'm the generation that would have been all over that, but I was too scared. Mm-hmm. And the same with like horror films. A lot of the classic 80s films I didn't see till I was in my late 20s because I was too scared. But I mean, I just think when I got offered, it was Sarah Brunstad that offered it, and I just thought there's so many stories you can tell in that world, you know. Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff that like stuff I would like, atmosphere, body horror, things like that I really enjoy working with. So I just knew I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I'd have fun, and I have been having a lot of fun. The best thing has been. Well, the worst thing is when I told some friends of mine I was working on it, they lost their minds, and they're like, "You can't mess this up." Like non-comic book people, you know, like they don't like superheroes or anything. They'll see the movies, but when I told them I was doing Alien, they got like weirdly angry. Like, you cannot mess this up. So I felt a little bit more pressure than I would on anything else. If it was like Avengers, I'd be like, yeah, grand. But no, there's actually the fan base is intense.
Did they tell you not to do anything specific?
Not to say that I didn't like Alien when I was a kid. No, and do you know what? There's been some interesting licensor notes, which it's not what you'd think. It's just kind of a lot of weirdly specific stuff that kind of you can't really do, but also weirdly very liberating. Like there's lots of it's the stuff I thought I would have more problem getting approved hasn't been a problem at all. But then there's all these small little kind of odd notes that like would come out of nowhere, like a character should say this. It's a reference to something. I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit. So do you know what I mean? It's like the stuff I'm kind of expecting isn't a problem, but there's all this kind of back stuff that right. Like any gig, there's always limitations. Getting to write swearing for a Marvel comic, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But trying to write a really dread fueled horror at Marvel is really cool. Like it's really cool. I think a lot of other people be trying to put that into a superhero book because that's what their real influences are, you know. Yeah. And I'm just getting to do it without having to kind of like trick the editors or anything like that. So it's really cool. Like it feels like I'm writing a movie in a weird way.
Right.
That I wouldn't feel like if I was drawing superheroes or writing superheroes, I'd feel like I'm writing comics. There's something weirdly kind of filmic about it. Well, clearly because it's based on a film, you dope. But no, I'm really enjoying it. I know I was just more kind of nervous about like finding the right artist for the book. And Andrea, like, I wasn't familiar with Andrea's work before, but once he is such a fan of Alien. Like all the like, if I was drawing this book, I'd make it moody, lots of shadows and stuff like that. But I wouldn't have the tech, the reference, all the clothing. I would have to do a lot of reference work to get that right. Whereas Andrea is such a fan, he just has it all kind of down. And once the pages started coming in, I'm like, oh, this actually feels like, you know, it was filmed in the 70s, but it's set in 2000. You know what I mean? That kind of feeling, rather than a feeling like a very clean, shiny Marvel comic. You know, I know it is Marvel Comics, but I just wanted to inject a little bit more of the Dark Horse sensibility in there, because I just love that personally. And yeah, everyone's been really cool. It has not been. I figured it was going to be a bit of a headache, but be worth it. But it hasn't really been. So I'm really enjoying it.
How many C bombs are they throwing around in the book?
I haven't tried that one yet. Issue 3 is going to be where I really drop that one.
Shit!
All right. What was it? Because it's funny, any book, I don't know if you have this experience, Matt, but I remember when I was drawing Injection, there's a scene in the last issue where somebody shows up naked, so he's nude. And I remember writing Warren, like, is this like Marvel naked, where the shadows are over, or naked? And it was like, oh no, like, yeah, naked. So, but I was so trained in the Marvel sensibility that naked to me still wasn't naked. It was just like, seeing the Jim Lee shadows over a big bulky body. But anyway, so was a question with Old Dog. Sorry,
what is the best aspect of the creative process?
Just having something from inception to very end. Like nobody else. It's so rare for you to be able to do that. Like no writer will have that experience. That's like the black dark hole inside of Matt. He realizes he'll never have that sense of satisfaction.
That's an oversimplification. I have a lot of black dark holes inside. That's just one of them.
But it has been. I mean, the great thing with doing something with images, you can make wild decisions and do kind of mad things. But being able to have the idea and like just take that thing and carry it right to the very end, to all the creative choices are all done. It's. There's definitely downsides. It can be stressful and stuff, but it's so satisfying. Like, I'm so proud. No, it's been an amazing experience. Like, I think I'll feel better when the first arc is done. I can take a breath, and really like go, yes, that was a brilliant experience, and take out the stress of it. But I had friends told me for years there's nothing like it, and they were all right.
Can I ask a stupid question about the book? I can. It's my podcast. The cover stock of the paper, was that your decision to use like the thick board stock for the covers?
Yeah, probably not the smartest because it costs more to print.
I mean, it's funny because I picked them up off the shelves and I was like, the first one I picked up was the issue 1, which was the sketch cover. And so it's on like the sketch, it's on a blank sketch cover. And then I like opened it and was like, normally when you get a sketch cover for a comic, they're like, the A cover is underneath and the sketch cover is just two. And this wasn't. And I was like, that's weird. And then I like looked on the shelf and I was like, oh, they're all like this. And I kind of love it. I think it's amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
It feels like prestige. It feels nice. It's
I'm trying to trick people into thinking it's a prestige book,
Sure. Yeah.
No, like you have no idea how delighted I am to hear this, because I was agonizing over that for ages. I'm like, this is going to cost. Like, this is stupid to spend more money just to have a stock cover. But like, I've seen some Boom covers like that. I'm like, well, they probably make enough money, and but like I say, I would never do it on Time Before Time, because any profit made on that book, I want that to go to the creators. I'm not gonna, I'm not going to make a decision that's going to make the book irresponsibly expensive to make. So I wouldn't do that. With Old Dog, though, I thought, you know what? There's no one else can get burned here except me.
Sure.
So if I'm going to be indulgent, now is the time to be indulgent. And it was worth it. When I got the comics, I was like, well, partly I wanted it to feel a little bit more like a file, like a, it's I mean, not in a, part of me thought is, oh, well, maybe I could get the sides trimmed. So it's like, don't be just
Yeah.
relax, all right? You want to actually be able to pay rent.
That'd
So
be
that's-
cool. That'd be cool as hell, though, if you got it
Yeah,
trimmed. And it was like,
wouldn't be savage. Yeah, but because I remember when we did Savage Town, the designer of that book, Emma Price, she said like, oh, if we did a gold emboss like on the gold chain, that would be cool. It'd be tacky, like the all the gangsters. I was like, oh man, that would be savage. And I talked to Image, and like that book would have cost like 5,000 or something just for that small little thing. So, but with those graphic novels, I have on stock. On uncoded stock, because they're not trade collections. They're graphic novels. So I do want them to feel more graphic novel-y, With Old Dog, again, I wanted to feel like a prestige book because I've never really done this before. So that was a choice. I was worried I would really regret it, but no, I love the feel of the book in my hand. So and that's it. I wanted someone to go to the stand and pick it up and go, ooh.
yeah.
But just to know that one person thought that it makes it worth it, man.
And I feel like things like that are so funny because they're these sort of unsung things in comics that you do where you're just like, I don't know if anyone notices this consciously, but subconsciously they appreciate this. And you just sort of tell yourself that, like, they don't realize that this feels nicer and it cost me thousands of dollars, but but they're enjoying it like 2% more because of that. And that's
but you have to have that balance of like, is that much money worth? Like, is that much satisfaction worth the money? Generally, no.
Yeah.
Experience, but I don't know. I feel especially if you're doing an Image book, you've got to swing wide as you can, to a degree. Otherwise, you're just doing a book, another publisher will tell you can't do something. So, in some small way, I try and do something that like even the double page titles I do every issue. Like that is indulgent as hell.
Sure.
But you know what? I'm writing draw my own book. If I can't be indulgent now, then it'll never happen. And I wanted to kind of build a language of the book. There's going to be an intro page. It's going to be a double splash.
It feels great.
Good. I wanted it to have a strong voice. That you'll notice, but especially by the time you get to issue 3, you'll realize I'm doing it again and again. So, but yeah, sorry, I'm rambling there.
That's good.
No, absolutely. Do we want to do another audience question?
Yeah.
All right, we got one from Dallas Heisler, who says that they are loving Old Dog, but they have a question about the release schedule. With so much on your plate, how do you juggle all the commitments? How many sacrifices can you make, personal time, and how long can you keep it up? They wanted to know if you've thought about bringing in an artist to make the release schedule more regular, although they are sticking around till the end regardless.
I appreciate that. Sorry, I didn't catch the name there. I feel like I'd be a terrible politician.
Dallas, yeah.
Dallas. Oh man, cool. It's a cool name. Let's start calling myself Dallas.
Dallas Shalvey.
That's good.
No, sorry, I'll try to answer the question. The release schedule, I mean, it's a little short, and I apologize. It's all on me. I started this book at a time in my life where I was basically moved across country. There's some personal stuff that took me away from the drawing board, but I'd already pulled the pin. So the release schedule is caught up with me. I have, as of now, I have inked page 1 of issue 4. So I am working on. There you go. It's like a weird satellite. Oh, there's a lady on a bench, and he's punching the guy. Yeah, it's comics.
This is how I want to read the book from now on. I want you to just tell me that, do that.
Yeah, I'm going to start bring back creator commentaries. But I'm working on the book. Basically, I just had to take a publishing hiatus. It's back. What month's the next solicitations? May, is it? May. I should always know this. I never do. May. It'll be back. Issue 4 will be in May. I don't know what to do. I think I should try to do a press release or something just to let people know. So I don't want anyone to think the book's gone because it's not. It's just the scheduling caught up with me, and I'm not handing it to somebody else. I just don't want to do it defeats the whole point of doing the book,
Sure.
So yeah, it'll go as far as issue 6, and then the first. I'm calling them Red Acts, so that I can kind of come back to them anytime I want and do a new Red Act. Basically, kind of do them like miniseries, like Hellboy is kind of how I felt like. Because I just know I can't do 12 issues in a year anymore, but I could do 6 good issues. So I don't like making people wait. The plan was to do 6 in a row and then take a break and then release the next 6 monthly. But a bit off more than I can chew because it is a lot of work. I just feel like I'm just doing a pity party here. But no, it'll be back in March, and because I'm working on it now, I'm not doing anything else. Sorry, that's not true at all. I'm doing Alien. but that ties into his question. It is a tough balance.
Yeah.
Managing it all. More so, I just realized I can't do more than a certain amount of covers a month. Otherwise, in my head, a cover takes a day, but really it takes 3 days. And 3 days is most of a work week. And if I'm not squeezing them into weekends, then that is a work weekend. So I just, someone says, do you want to do what am I doing now? Like I'm doing a Daredevil cover. I was just offered one. Like I can't turn that down because I suck. But it means I have to turn something else down, so I just have to be more careful with that kind of stuff. But it's a constant. I mean, I don't know how it's for you. Like my problem is I put off writing because it's way easier to draw. Like I can just sit down and draw any time. Writing, I need to kind of like
mentally get there.
Yeah, get down and like really concentrate on what I'm doing, and that's what I've done. Concentrate with it, but there's a certain kind of like gear I can go into drawing wise where I'm relaxed. So when I'm trying to write, sometimes I'll distract myself by going, you know what, I need to do the layout for that cover. Definitely need to get that layout done. I'll go do that now and go back to it later. So it's tough, but I just have to schedule myself. I just have notes on my phone and I just write down everything I need to do, who I need to email back each hour of the day, and just try hit that. I'll never get it all done, but I'll find I get like 70% of it done. And but if I didn't have that list, I get 2 things done, but it is hard. So, and also like I have an editor, Heather Antos, that is my editor, my creator and stuff, and time before time, like tickle tricks by, as it's supposed to. Everything is the deadline because everybody else is doing their job. Old Dog is just tougher for me because I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to put everything I can into it until it goes to the printer. So
I mean, my feeling always on that stuff, and obviously I'm coming from a sort of biased place because I'm a comic creator, but like nobody likes delays in books. No one likes delays in schedules. It's not a fun thing to happen. But at the end of the day, if the book feels like that time was well spent, I'm always happy for it, because the final product being good, and Old Dog feels like a real labor of love. Like it really feels like a book that you're putting your all into. And so that's the kind of thing, that I would hope your audience and I mean, Dallas in his question seems very on board all the way.
That's I mean, I hope that's my bread and butter. Like, because I don't mind waiting for stuff. When you're from the west of Ireland, like you just have to, you just gotta wait. You say something's supposed to come, it just doesn't come in it. So I'm used to that, but I know I'm not every reader, and there's nothing wrong with a reader expecting the book to come out when you said it would. So that's why I have a hell of a lot of kind of Irish Catholic guilt making me feel bad about it. But I do know, like, I know it's going to be the best thing I've done once I finish this first arc. So I'm not going. That'll be that. But I just don't like saying I'll do something and not doing it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Rosenberg, do you keep a task list? Because you do so much, but you seem so chaotic.
Well, thank you. It is. I have a task list that is chaotic as hell. Let me glance at it. Let me glance at it right now. Where's my to-do? Oh, yeah. 49 things I have to do this week.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it sucks. They don't all get done. Yeah, I mean, I tried for a long time. Like I didn't have a calendar. I didn't keep a calendar. I didn't keep a task list. And I was like, it's all up here. And so my brain is very good at that, but it hit a point where it was just not functioning.
I would say in complete contrast to what I just said, I did make a kind of a change life-wise in the last year that the work's not going anywhere. And if a life thing comes up, do that. Because I spent 10 or so years pushing every life thing to the side.
Right.
Sure.
Not all the time, but to a large degree, in order to get to where I am today, to build my way up the ranks of comics hierarchy or whatever it is. And what was the point of doing that if I can't enjoy it a bit more, So I will say, while I know I feel like shit about the Old Dog stuff, I also know that I'm better in my life at the moment for taking a few breaths where before I would be holding my breath and diving back in. So I think I've got a better balance. And I feel like I'll have. Like I said, I felt like Moon Knight was the thing. Not that Old Dog isn't going to be the thing that everybody talks about from now on, but I think I will feel like it's the best thing I've done. And I think when the pandemic hit, I was kind of thinking like, what's the last thing I've done that I'm really proud of? And it had been a few years. Not really the join thing I worked on, but like the thing that I would like to have on my shelf. I realized it's been 2 or 3 years since I had something I'm really. It was like the Punisher book I did never came out, and I was kind of doing one shots here and there, and I realized I need to kind of do something.
I read some of the Punisher book. It was really good.
You're the only one.
Yeah, I know. I probably shouldn't say that I read it, but I read. Was there 2? There was 2 issues done, I think, right?
4.
There was 4.
Wow.
I maybe
there was only one left to do. Ed had written it, but I hadn't drawn it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not super bitter about it. Like, I would like the book to come out and everything, but it's
it's
Marvel,
great
and I think it was like, but when you work on a book you do 4 issues of the book and it doesn't come out, it kind of makes you think, well, what do I really want to do? So I'm glad I'm doing it with Old Dog, and I think I'd like to do a Marvel thing again. I'd like to write and draw a Marvel thing or a DC thing or whatever. I'd love to be able to do balance between both, and I'm actually quite lucky. I'm in a place where I kind of can. But just for me, I just really want to get Old Dog done and just take a breath after that. But I do apologize so there is basically a publishing break from now to May. I don't know. I need to let people know about that. So
we just did.
Sure.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, now everybody knows. Everybody knows now. But but it is coming. Like I'd love to say it's all written, but I've just already admitted that it isn't written. But I am writing it. But no, I have to finish it. Like I can't do anything else until I finish this.
Yeah.
Well, talking about writing Old Dog, this next question from David is about that. And he asks, how far ahead is Old Dog outlined? Do you have a certain number of arcs in mind with an eventual conclusion, or is it more open-ended? Thanks.
It's not open-ended. I know exactly where I'll end it. I know where this arc ends, and so I always knew that, and I know where the overall series will end. So it'll definitely be more than one arc. Just being totally honest, it really depends how well the book does. I don't know if I'm going to need to wrap it up in the next arc. Ideally, I'd like to do 3 arcs, but you know what? The more I've worked in the book, the more space I can see to kind of like play out some long stories, and because I want it to be. I'm sure you can tell it's written to be episodic. Every issue I want it to feel like a new issue 1, but there is a slower backstory that's kind of coming in, and it's like with Time Before Time. We did the first arc, and we didn't know if we'd make it to issue. We get past issue 5. Then when we did, we knew where we wanted the series to end, and then we kind of it'll be the book was going to wrap up by the end of this year, and we're writing kind of the last issues now. But we're landing at where we wanted it to. Thankfully, we might have just had ended issue 5, and with Old Dog, I'll definitely do a second arc. I just don't know if I'll have to wrap it up in that arc or if I can kind of keep going. What I'd love to do is just be able to kind of come back and do a new arc, and until I know when I want to. I know the very end of the book. It'll be really, really. I'll definitely get there. Sorry, but I'm just thinking about it actually coming out.
Tell us what the very end is.
So
what happened?
But no, what it is really is the runway. I don't know the issues are okay. I don't know how the book these are all boring stuff that me and Matt would talk about for fucking hours. I don't think anyone else really cares.
What kind of cover are you going to put on the trade? Have you thought about that? Is it going to be thick? Are you going to do a hardcover?
No. No, because I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
I'd love to do. Well, we put it this way. I'd love to do a hardcover. Like say, Time Before Time. I don't know if the book can make it to hardcover. Something like Old Dog, I would do because I'm just that vain. But it depends on when the book's finished. When the book's finished, I'll probably do things like that. But it's definitely going to be 2 arcs at least. 3 was what I was thinking. But the more I've worked on the book, I just think there's so much fun stuff I could do with it, But then again, there's other things I'd like to do too. So I'm I look how I didn't really answer this question. I'm just stuttering and mumbling all the time. And it's definitely going to be one more arc, but I'd love to go on. And it depends if the book sells well, then I know I'll be able to do that without being the poorhouse, basically. Because that's the other thing as well. It's just me, so I literally do need to be able to live to get out to do the book.
Sweet. We have one question over here in the YouTube chat from Scott Carpenter. I'd also be remiss if I didn't bring up our friend Ryan Michael here in the chat saying what's up and that you guys cross paths in New York for New York Comic Con. But Scott has a question for you saying, when did you know Marvel was going to use Mr. Knight in Moon Knight? Brian Hitch just tweeted that he didn't know about the Authority movie. The movie is probably years from production, but still. Do you know ahead of time?
No. I found out Marvel announced a phase thing. Mm-hmm. When Moon Knight was announced, that's when I found out. But I noticed that they used the same logo that me and Jordy designed for the book, the kind of moon with the crescent moon for the O. So that's the only reason I thought there might be anything. But I mean, that was 4 years ago, whenever that was. And I didn't know Mr. Knight was going to be in it. I knew about 2 weeks beforehand. And the only reason I knew is because there was somebody who worked in Marvel production studios who offered me an illustration gig for the style guide. So in order for me to draw it, he gave me access to I was given access to production stuff, you know. So I saw a shot of Oscar Isaac in the big suit, and then I saw somebody with their sleeves rolled up. I was like, what the hell? And I looked, and it was the Mr. Knight suit with the rolled up sleeves. And I'd gone to a stage where, like, I don't like taking credit for stuff that has nothing to do with me. So, you know, when you see Khonshu and the skull, I was like, yeah, I designed that skull, but the costume's not what I designed. And, you know, but then when I saw the rolled up sleeves, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's definitely it's definitely a run, because it's a very specific issue that happened in, you know.
Right.
So yeah, but I'd say that was 2 weeks before that photo was online. The still photo, like, so I knew just beforehand, but it had nothing to do with, like, it wasn't like an official notice or anything like that. It just happened that somebody who worked in the studios was a fan of mine and hired me to do a piece of art. That was it.
That's pretty sweet. We did have one more pop in real quick in the chat. Leandro Damasceno, I don't know how to say that. Sorry. It says, I love Time Before Time. How was it to work in that configuration with a writer partner and, quote, multiple artists?
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. Great to know people's reading it. So I knew Rory McConville was a really good writer. I've known him years and years and years, and he was writing for 2000 AD, and I knew he wanted to break in. I think I sent him to Matt one time, and Matt was just like, out of my face. But I'm better than that, you know.
That didn't happen.
But no, he was great. I just, you know, I'm kind of, I would be known for supporting artists and, like, helping artists out, but, like, trying to break in as writer is bloody tough. So, you know, like to help whoever I can. But I had just done Bog Bodies, and I was a bit burnt out. I knew I wanted to do a new creator-owned book, but I was a little burnt out. And I thought, you know, the two of us could probably do something together, you know, whereas I'm known and could probably get a book approved. And, like, if you were able to do a lot of the kind of, like, heavy lifting, there's something we could do together. So that was Time Before Time. And Joe Palmer had finished drawing the graphic novel he was doing called Write It in Blood. So Joe just kind of came over on the book. And yeah, we brought it out. But then after a year, Joe, I think, was just a bit burnt out. He hadn't really done monthly comics at that speed before. So, which we didn't, I mean, I didn't want him to go, but because his stuff is so cool and interesting and really created the whole look of the book. But, you know, I was going to do a book that I was writing and drawing. I couldn't tell him he couldn't do this. That's what he wants to do. He's working his own book now. I couldn't go like, no, you can't do that, because I was doing it. So then we kind of scrambled. We were like, oh, we try to find something to replace him totally. And we realized, you know what, since we're hopping around different time zones, it kind of actually would make sense to use different artists. So that's been fun, because we had Eric Zawodzki on and Ron Salas and Jorge Coelho now, who, oh my God, those pages are unreal.
Yeah, they're killer.
Unreal. He's so good. Oh yeah, it wasn't your Rocket Raccoon he drew, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Fuck. Why? I don't get why he's not
a
sensation. Like, he's a genius.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, we have somebody lined up to do the last. Well, plus we've done little one shots where different people have drawn one shot stories, including myself.
Oh shit!
So yeah, that's been a whole load of fun. But a lot of it was just me and Rory bouncing stuff back and forth, and it's been. I really wanted to write. I don't know if you had this problem, Matt, but even at Marvel or DC, you don't know how long a book's going to be.
Sure, yeah.
Not back in the day where you'd be on a book and it could be 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And now what I wanted to do is kind of come up with something where I could dig in, because everything I've done was like a short story, a graphic novel, and we've got to do that now. So it'll be like 5 books, 6 books by the time it's done.
It's awesome.
Yeah, really, it's good. It took a lot to get there, and I'm not sure how much I'd want it. If I was doing another creator-owned book right now, I don't think I'd do an ongoing. To be honest, Old Dog's different because it's all me, but I don't think I could really promise somebody a book's going to do well past 5 issues anymore. In the current market, so I'm really glad. I feel like Time Before Time came out just right time that we're able to just stick the landing at 5-6 trades.
Yeah, it's also hard. Like we did when me and Tyler finished 4 Kids. Like we were our whole edict to ourselves was like try and challenge ourselves to do things we're not comfortable with. Like try and make our next book something where it doesn't feel like we're resting on past accomplishments or in our comfort zone. And Tyler's first thing when I said that was like our edict for the book is he was like, let's go ongoing. And I was like, oh fuck, like that's not a good idea. And I tried to talk him out of it, and then he was like, no, let's do it. And then I remember there was a point at issue 5 where he was just like, man, I'm going to be on this for a really long time, aren't I? And I was like, yeah, 2.5 more years. And he was like, okay. But then like, it's so hard to like keep the excitement going because like comics is so built on fast and quick turnover and new ideas, and you get excited about new things. And
yeah, like we've issued 2020 out last 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome.
I can't believe we've gotten to 20 issues. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's brilliant. I'm so glad of like actually it's the longest because Injection we got as far as 3 arcs, so like this is technically the longest image book I've ever done. I didn't draw it. I did the covers, but that's it. Like drawing wise,
it's funny you talk about Rory's contribution to the book because I was working on a time travel book. Like I had an idea and I still want to do it, but I had an idea that I was like really grinding on and like was very excited about. And I remember you emailed me and were like, hey man, do you want to check out my new book? And you're like, it's a time travel book. And I was like, my book's going to be better than Declan's book. I don't have to worry about it. And then I read it and I was like, fuck, this is so much, like there's so much stuff in here that's so much smarter than anything I had. The thing that fucked me up was the moment when they're like, yeah, he got captured. And then he's like, oh, we have to go get him. And they're like, no, he's back. And then you have the hard cut to him back. He's old. And I just like, my jaw dropped at that moment. I was like, that's such a smart, it's so obviously right in front of you, but like it still isn't, and like it makes perfect sense, but it's a total gut punch moment. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna close this time travel thing for a little bit and sit on it. And then I was like, fucking Declan just, and I was like, no, it's probably Rory. That's how I comfort myself. I was like, that was a Declan.
No, you were. It was good instinct. You were right. No, it's.
No, I love the book.
I was worried about that book was like, is it going to be like a battle back and forth, or how? Because I never co-written something with someone before, but I talked to 2 different co-writing teams, one of which basically wrote 50-50, and the other basically they pretty big writers, and I didn't realize that like one basically they kind of like had a conversation with each other, and then one kind of like wrote the script and the other one kind of would go over the script. And I thought the proper way to do it was the 50-50, but the people who I talked to said actually it was really tough. Because you're writing 2 different books and you're trying to like shove them together. Whereas the other way was a lot more natural because you can just basically break the story, and I wouldn't say Roy's the monkey work as in like he's just doing the hard work, but he's doing the time digging in more. Like a lot of the really good dialogue is him, and and then I'll come in like we kind of say siphon out some pages for me to write, and then he'll kind of put it together. It's probably more work than just doing a book on your own, but we both get to do a book that we both like together, which is I like that way. And I think it would have been way harder to do it the other way. The way I thought was the proper way to do it. And I loved, like I'd hop on a call with Rory where we're breaking out down the next arc, and like be so buzzed after it, but I don't need to sit down and do all the scripts, so that's pretty
So that's your dream project, basically.
Dream project. So I know I don't mean to downplay. Like I made the commitment that I wanted to write pages for every issue, but I also didn't want to get in the way because I'm doing so much other stuff. I don't want Rory waiting on me either.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of like getting out of his way, but making sure I'm kind of like, but like I switched the credits after in the third arc where his name is before mine now, because at that stage he was doing more work than I was, and I didn't want to, as much as I am a glory hog, I didn't.
Sure.
I had enough glory at that stage. I could let some go.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's worth pointing out that Leandro said, John Suntress massacres my last name every time, Ethan. You did very good. Take that, Suntress, you son of a bitch. Famously nice guy.
Or Suintrez. Take that.
Yeah, exactly. This is a better podcast, you know?
I was on his podcast yesterday. I'm going to say that it's not, but
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's not.
Okay.
Declan's a better guest than I am, but
Okay.
do we have any more questions, or are we going to wrap it up? I feel like
That's
we've
it.
run
We do have to
Good
pick
point.
a best question because sponsor of the show, Third Eye
out of
Comics, going to send out some cool stuff to whoever we think has the best question.
Yeah,
I got to say Cleo is my vote.
that was my vote too.
I agree.
Great.
What was Cleo's one again?
About Alien.
The very dense question, what's great, what's bad about writing Alien, and also...
I would say what I haven't said in the press so far, or I think which I think is the clincher, like for me, Alien, it's basically it's Aliens meets The Thing.
There you go.
So that doesn't get you interested. Nothing will.
I feel like
I'd
those
agree.
things have probably already met before, but I love it. I'm in. No, I'm super excited for you to write Alien. I can't quite wrap my head around what it's going to be, and that gets me excited always when I think.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't
I mean,
know what it is.
I once it's coming out, I'll be terrified because, like I said, every person I know probably wants to write that book, and the try doing the rest development thing. Him,
Yeah.
but you know what? There's plenty of times I've looked at books and gone him, so I can be that guy for once.
Have you talked to Phil Kennedy Johnson or Brisson?
No, I met
about-
him briefly at New York Comic Con, and we kind of meant to have a chat, but it's
great.
I don't know, like he's leaving the book, so I don't
Sure,
think
yeah.
you want to talk about it. And he's written Superman, so I'm sure he's busy. But no, he was really nice. Like, and he said he was a perfect gentleman. I would have liked to have talked to him at the show, but it's more working with Sarah, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, like the restrictions I thought I'd have haven't been there, so it's pretty wide open actually. Like it's really fun. You'd enjoy it, Matt.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, they didn't offer it to me.
You'd like writing it sometime.
They didn't offer it. I worked with Sarah. I love working with Sarah. She was my editor on Secret Warriors, and she's awesome. But I guess the feeling's not mutual because she gave the book.
Well, she asked
damn.
me, buddy. I don't tell you. No, I mean, I was surprised. Honestly, I was kind of flabbergasted to be offered because I wouldn't have thought anyone. I was surprised, more surprised than anybody else was, I'd say. But like when a cool opportunity comes your way, grab it both horns, and I just really hope we do a good book. That's what I'm trying to do. A really cool book.
I'm sure it's going to be awesome. You've been doing nothing but awesome books for the past really long time, so I'm sure it'll be great, buddy.
Thanks, man. Took you this long to tell me?
Yeah, well, we have to have one moment of sincerity, and then we'll
Okay.
revisit that in 5 years, and I'll say something else nice again.
5 years.
No, I'm a big fan. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but I'm a big fan.
It's that news to me.
Yeah, there you go. I guess that's it. Is that the end of the show?
That's the show.
Yeah.
That's the end of
What
the show.
what does Cleo get?
We don't
Third Eye
know.
give?
We don't know.
We let Third Eye pick a prize, and they send it out. And I sort of thought when people got their prizes, they'd be like, "I got this thing, and it's cool." And then I'd find out what it was, but no one's done that. No one's told me what they got. So I'm like, I don't know.
Tell us. Let us know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could, one, Cleo, we need your address, but also when you get your thing, tell us. But Third
So
Eye,
Cleo wasn't watching, so he doesn't even know he's gotten it.
yeah, Cleo doesn't know.
He or she, I
There's-
don't know.
Cleo, we don't know what Cleo's getting. Cleo doesn't know that they're getting something at all. It's a great big mystery. Only Third Eye knows. And that's, maybe the way it's meant to be. But Declan, this has been awesome. Super fun having you on the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our discussion with Declan Shalvey. Make sure to check out Old Dog as well as everything else Declan is working on by giving him a follow on Twitter at Declan Shalvey and subscribing to his newsletter at declanshalvey.com. To get the latest episodes of this podcast as well as news, giveaways, and even comics delivered straight to your inbox, go to ashcanpress.com and sign up for the newsletter. We'll be back next week with another wonderful guest. And in the meantime, you can write to us at ideasdon'tbleedpod@gmail.com or tweet to Matthew Rosenberg at ashcanpress on Twitter, me at Tales to Astonish, or Griffin at Griff Sheridan. We'll include some of your correspondence on the show, and we'd love to hear what you have to say. And big thanks to Summer People for our theme song, Where's the Poison? Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Where is the poison?